Graphing these real spherical harmonics in Desmos calculator. So here is an amazing real spherical harmonics graph in Desmos calculator that someone made. This is absolutely astonishing. Whoever made this, congrats and thank you. First of all, if you go here, if you click it, what you'll end up going to is just this part right here. So here it is, and here's some. It's a bit like laggy on my computer here, my laptop thingy, my Surface Pro. So here there's a bunch of the equations and so on. So there it is for some values on it. So but anyway, so note the normalization constants used as well as the same formulas we obtained above. So if you go to it, it shows you this setup here, which is quite fascinating. But this is they call this the real part, the y real. And that's just basically when m is greater than 0. So we have the cosine m phi, and this is the associated Legendre function p m absolute value m cosine theta. And it's exactly the same setup there. So they have two functions there. This is the cosine one, they call it the real. This is the imaginary one, im. There, and there's the p, there's the m. This one, number, it's l, but we used l, n, and there's cosine and so on. There's some other stuff. But again, here's the normalization constants. Those are the n. So that's the n one they use. So again, that's why we used proportional there. So it's again the exact same thing. They have the absolute values. They call this m var. We'll explain that in a bit. So they have that m var. So note the associated Legendre polynomials and its giant derivative. So here it is. So this is the associated Legendre. There's the ml, but ours is n, and so on. There's the -1 power of m, and so on, 1 minus x squared, and so on. And then now it's they made it as a function of the ordinary Legendre polynomials, and then from here, so from here, this one, what they do now is they take the derivative. Yes, they put it in here. So remember that giant derivative there, and it's they just basically take the derivative of it, so and the derivative of the nth Legendre polynomial. So that's quite absolutely amazing stuff there. And they say d is, that's the variable. So basically, whatever the m value you use in here, it gets thrown into here, and then that gets into this function, which is represented by d. And so that's how it looks like. And if you remember how this is 1 divided by n, well, we have 2 to the power of n. This is just 1 to the n. And let's just have a look at that Legendre general polynomial, the ordinary one. So we scroll all the way back up. This was the setup here. Scroll all the way back up just to see our final solution there. So there's a Pn, yes, it's a Pn of t is 1 divided by 2n, there's a factorial, and then there's nth derivative of this. But then this one's going to be, that's Pn, and then we do the mth derivative of it, and so on, yes, of Pn there. So it's pretty fascinating. Put them all together, it's going to be nth plus mth derivative, and so on. So that's quite fascinating. Yeah, so go back here. So anyways, so this is the dth derivative, that's the mth derivative after you already take the nth Legendre polynomial, and in other words, the nth derivative, because that's why you had the n plus m derivative. Yeah, so that's, and it gets something like this giant thingy. Then anyways, let's to solve it. Maybe for a future video, I'll go explain how exactly they do it. But anyways, since the spherical harmonics are graphed on the sphere, the radial distance needs to be stretched proportional to the magnitude of its value on the sphere. This gives it distinctive lobes. So what they do is, now they're graphing out the r terms, and they're using some of these values there, so r sine and so on. So they're getting the radial terms, but then they have this setup here, which is using the ml variables, the actual ones, instead of this m var. So they're using this m var, and they're basically using it as like the maximum of those. So it's using, so if m is greater than or equal to 0, it's going to be plugging in the value of m inside this function right here. Yeah, inside this one here, y real and y imaginary. I'm not going to explain exactly what they're doing, but basically they're throwing these m and n and L, which is our n, inside there, and the theta and so on. and then that function is using it in here. So, and they call this they call these ones here the imaginary. They use m var just because it's like a temporary one. So this is a temporary one that you throw in this one, which is actually being graphed, which is the length of it. And because you see this R max equals the maximum of one of these setups there. So this is the basically the maximum lobe and so on, and some other stuff like that. But anyways, the whole idea is they throw it into this setup here. So that gets thrown into this equation and this equation. So it's fascinating stuff. So keep going further, see what else they do. And now we have some basic stuff here. So now we have the quantum principal quantum number and orbital angular momentum quantum number. This is the one we were dealing with. So we were dealing with this right here, L, and yeah, we were dealing with this one here. This is our L. That's actually just our N. So we were dealing with L and M. But these ones in quantum mechanics, they're called the setup here. So I'm going to read this all out, then I'll explain. So note the relationship between the principal orbital angular momentum and magnetic quantum number. So there's a principal quantum number n. So note the relationships between them, and the principal sets the maximum orbital angular momentum, which then sets positive and negative limits of the magnetic. So in other words, this principle is the n used in quantum mechanics, and then this sets the maximum. So this sets the maximum orbital angular momentum. This is the one we were dealing with. That's why we didn't deal with this one. This is just basically the maximum. So where this one is between 0 and n. That's pretty much, I think that's the only place in the whole formula, the whole calculator, that has it. So this one is just the maximum there. So that's pretty much sets the energy level. The maximum is sets the maximum value of n, and then the magnetic quantum number basically is this one sets the limits, positive and negative. There's a negative L, negative I'm positive n. In other words, n and negative n. Yeah, and then this one here is a maximum. This was using our setup. Yeah, this is the L. Again, that's why I don't like using the L. It looks like a 1 or something. They use it like that, and this is negative L. I'll say negative L, positive L. And then where this one here is the maximum is n. Yeah, so then these have maximums of negative and positive n. Now here's some values here. So if you have n equals to 5, L equals to 5, m is 0, you get this setup here. That's the default one, which is quite fascinating. And then also here for going further, so here are the real spherical harmonics for various values of the quantum numbers. So if you put n is 0, and then L automatically becomes 0, these all become 0. If this n is 0, we just get a sphere. And they all have the exact same values. If n is 1 and L is maximum, make it 1. Otherwise, if you set this as 0, it will just be the same thing as this one. And then you get m is 0, you get this. If you make it the same thing, but m is 1, it rotates. M is 2, it gets it on this y-axis. But then interestingly, if you make n is 2, and then this one's L is 2, you get this setup. But then if you, and then where m is 0, but if you have m is 1, it turns like this. M is 2, it still rotates, and so on. So that's pretty interesting. And so when it's 0, it acts differently than when it's not 0. So that's 0. This is m is 2. So it's not just a simple rotation as in this one here. So that's pretty fast. And let's go back into the graph and see what we can come across. So again, here's the principal quantum number. Let's change it to, but anyways, before that, again, you can click the spherical harmonics. You can see a whole lot of stuff they're doing. But the general stuff is again, this is what I want to get to, and then everything else is just extra. This is the real one. This is the y, and this is the m is greater than 0, m is less than 0. And they call that imaginary. But it's the same thing. There's a sign and there's absolute value one. So that's the real ones we set up. And there's the associated Legendre polynomials, and then d derivative of the Lth Legendre polynomial. It's fascinating stuff here. And again, a whole bunch of other stuff. But I will close this. And then you can also toggle access here and on. This is pretty cool. So you can change that. Anyways, so I'm going to make this like this. I'm going to go to n is equal to 0. So let's see what happens. N is 0, L and M become 0. And then if you make this as 1, again, that's pretty much, I think that's the only place where it's dependent, just this one here. So, but if it's still 0, it's still 0, so you would make it n is 1. And then this one you could modify it, and so on. And then you notice it takes a while to load, because there's a lot of other stuff in there. And I think if I go to Spherical Harmonics, this one has like a 684 element list. So it's like literally taking solutions at each different degree or something. And that's amazing stuff here. So you can click this and see elements. Holy. Okay, so let's close this now. We'll see even more. So that's pretty fascinating. Let's just close that. So I don't know how, okay, that's how you close it. Let's go back into here, and I'm going to make this into 2. Yeah, so notice what happens if you do 2, becomes this is the one we just showed. And then if you, this is at m equals 1, m equals to 0. And again, notice it's all integers. It becomes like that. And then you go to, let's do a giant one, see what happens. Oops, slide this here. Okay, so that's 2. Let's go to 10. So now we're going to go into another level, 10. So that just sets the maximum you could do on the n. So there it is. And that becomes like a butterfly. Let's go to the 0. Holy, yeah, okay, this is taking a lot of time to render. And it might blow up my computer. So there it is. That's how it looks like there. Okay, so it's always that weird shape like that. And then let's go here. Okay, let's do this one. And I want to take a screenshot maybe. Oh, it's going back. It's just taking a while. Yeah, so that's 10. That's pretty ridiculous. Anyways, I'm gonna make it like this. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So that's a bunch of stuff there. But you could also change the graph options. You can do lines, do less lines. And it's taken a while to load. You can change the width. Yeah, so it's notice less lines. Looks like that. Go to 77 or whatever. Okay, so there it is. And opacity. Make this 100. All the lines, no opacity. It looks like that. Okay, now that's the opacity, so you can't see through it. Let's make it a bit less. Alright, let's see what happens here. It's still taking a while to load. This is pretty ridiculous. Okay, I think it's done it. Let's go back here. And I want to take a screenshot. Go back up to here, principal quantum numbers. And yeah, that's what it looks like. And I will do it. Make this closer. Can it go over there? Okay, it's good enough. And I'll take a screenshot and add it. Alrighty, so I'm going to add this to it. So that's basically putting a whole bunch of stuff together and see what happens. Yeah, so that is that, and now there is the maximum quantum number. Alright, so yes, absolutely fascinating stuff.